quick introduction to myself. I've been at Talabat for the last 3 years. I joined one day before we went into lockdown for COVID-19. I'm very glad that those days are behind us. And over the years, we've really shifted the organization from one that just focuses on operations and about delivering food to one that uses technology to enable the way that we do logistics, the way that we do groceries, the way that we do customer service, the way that we do even finance, and that product-driven, tech-driven mindset over the years. And I want to really take this time to share with you some of the learning, some of the mistakes, some of the things that we've done over the years, and tell you why, as an entrepreneur, an aspiring entrepreneur, as a student, why a product-driven mindset is one that you should have going into thinking about your next tech company or your next startup. But where do we start? And you might be wondering why I have a picture of a Toyota Corolla, because I think it's important for us to put our hats of technology and entrepreneurship aside for about a minute. Let's think about an industry that arguably is a very, very old industry, but one that I would argue is extremely product obsessed. If you're the Toyota CEO and you go to a car show and you're launching the 2022, in this case, Toyota Corolla, you talk about how amazing it is. It has AirPlay 2.0. It is the best in class in terms of safety. It is the most fuel economical car that you can find in its price range. The same CEO who's saying that also has a sales rep on the ground saying the same thing. All the way from the top to the bottom, they're obsessing about what they present to the world, which is the 2022 Toyota Corolla. They are presenting this as their product. Now, let me ask you a question for those in tech, for those in entrepreneurship. How often do we obsess over ratios? How often do we obsess about metrics, whether they're vanity or otherwise? How often do we obsess about things that perhaps investors care about or what other startups tell you that you should care about versus what you truly bring to the world, which is your Toyota Corolla? So my charge for you today is to think about what's your Toyota Corolla. Now, you might be a very commercially savvy CEO and you ask, well, okay, I have a product team, they'll figure out product, huh? But I will also tell you that the product that you build as a startup is your company. You cannot think about your business model and your product in separation, because the reality is, based on your business model, based on your distribution channel, based on your the way that you want to go to market, whether you're a subscription model or a sales-led model, the reality is that the product that you build is radically different. So we have to think about product and the business and your startup in conjunction. So let me share with you 5 things that I charge my teams on, what we mean by building a product culture at Talabat. The first thing that we think about is how, as a product organization, we're not here to serve the business. We're not a tech team in the basement, in the IT team somewhere building features and Jira tickets. We are the business. We recognize that if we don't get our app right, if we don't get our experience right, millions of customers and millions of orders will suffer. And that if we don't get it right, it's our business at the end of the day. The second thing that we care a lot about is solving problems across the entire company, right? I can probably tell you one team in the company that we don't influence as much is probably the legal team. But between sales and logistics and finance and the way that we even do our grocery operations, all of that is tech enabled. And we think about how product can really influence that. The third thing that we do in the organization is really build a company around experimentation. So whether we think about new sales methodologies, whether we think about new pricing methodologies, we think about everything as a hypothesis, right? And we encourage the organization to really think about things as iterations and not big bang releases. And that product culture, that tech culture that you see in a lot of companies, we permeate that throughout the organization. The fourth thing that we do is what we call product discovery, which is deeply going on the ground, really understanding your customers, what challenges they're going through, what problems they're truly having, so that we can figure out how to best solve for them. And lastly, the mark of a true product-led organization is one where you are focused on the long term. You're not just chasing about things week over week, quarter over quarter. You think about the long term and what you want to build and your vision, and you work your way back and incrementally get there. And if I were to summarize, and for those of you who know product a little bit and you've researched product a little bit, you may have read a couple of books by Marty Kagan, whether inspired or empowered. This is a quote by Marty Kagan that I love that summarizes everything that I'm trying to say. That The culture that we want to build in an organization is one that is customer obsessed, that enables the team to serve the customers by creating products customers love, yet works for the business. Historically, product people maybe only thought about, oh, I can create this beautiful experience. Oh, I can create this beautiful product. But they don't think about the business model. They don't think about how to go to market. I would argue that in a true product organization where if the commercial teams and the product teams and the tech teams and the sales teams truly come together to think about what their Toyota Corolla is, they think about how to delight customers and move the business forward at the same time. Now, let's get a little bit concrete. I want to show you a couple of tips and learnings of things that we actually do at Talabat day to day with our teams, and I want to show you real examples of this coming to life. The first thing you might have seen perhaps on LinkedIn is what we call our user research cards. It sounds a little gimmicky, but we have a PDF format, we have a printed format, about 30 cards that we send to every employee who wants to talk to customers. These are user session guides that tells you how do you ask customers questions. How do you not lead your customers to telling you, exactly what they want, but really understand their true problems, right? How do you ask things in a non-leading way? How do you ask things in an unbiased way, right? So we distribute this freely and widely to anyone inside and outside of Talabat because we truly believe that everyone in the company should be speaking with customers and they should be empowered with the tools to enable them to do that. So that's one example of something that we do from the product organization to the marketing team to the sales team to truly be enabled to do that. The second thing that we do is that in the product organization, at least, I walk around the floor and I want to be able to ask anyone this one question, which is, when was the last time you spoke to a customer? And the answer has to be within the last quarter. We believe that every single person, whether you're a salesperson, whether you're an engineer, whether you're a designer, whether you're a product manager, your responsibility is to get as close to the customer problem as possible. And we do not believe that you can build true products and true solutions unless you're close to the ground. So one thing that we do is we spend a lot of time with our customers. For those of you who are Talabat users, you may have gotten an email that says, hey, we want you to be part of a group that we can reach out to, that we can do research with you. We want to understand how you do X and how you do grocery shopping and how you do food delivery and what your dine-out habits are. Why do we do that? We do that so that our teams can really understand what you're going through, what problems you have, what challenges you have, and we can truly solve for that. The other thing that we do once we learn a lot about our customers and their behaviors and their challenges is we share. Talabat is now a company that's 5,000 people across the region, across 8 different markets. One thing that we do is that we share very widely online. So we use Slack internally, and every time we have a good customer insight, we throw it online, we generate a conversation, we shape the company's conversations weekly based on a lot of these insights. And the last thing that we do is that we don't go about it alone. When we were working on a dine-out solution, this is actually the coffee joint called Costa under our building. And what you'll see is that between engineers, designers, product people, we also had the barista at Costa, we also had the business manager of Costa, we also have our commercial lead, all there talking to the customer at the same time, learning about what they're going through, learning about their challenges, figuring out how to build the right product. So that's to say, at the end of the day, the culture that we're building is not unique to the product organization, to the tech organization, and it's just, what the IT team does. What we're building is a fundamental way of building our Toyota Corolla, and we believe that this is a company effort. So I want to showcase 2 results that came out of a lot of this way of thinking. One, some of you may know, last year we were at the Expo. We were the cloud kitchen provider at Expo, and we also had these little cute robots that roamed around at Expo. And what was really cool about it is that when Expo was being built, we had no idea what the experience was going to be. Expo didn't exist, right? So we had to really work very hard to understand the flows, how users were going to walk from one place to another, how they would discover the Talabat brand when they walked into the gates of Expo. How do they make their first order? Do they get a robot to deliver to them, or do they have to walk to a cloud kitchen? Like, how does that all work? And most importantly, one thing that we learned is that people don't necessarily just care about robots. We had these robots that roamed around. One thing that we learned very early on is that people loved it when robots had personality. What we learned is that kids and families really love the fact that they love stopping the robot in the middle of the expo and just talking to the robot, even though it doesn't do very much. But the fact that we could inject a bit of personality, the fact that we could inject a bit of conversation was actually a really nice customer delighter. And that only came about because we went on the ground and really tried to understand, how humans interacted with robots, and built an experience that's based on that. A second in-app experience that I think is pretty cool is we are the first food delivery provider globally to offer a buy now, pay later solution. Now, sounds a bit gimmicky, you might say, but here's actually why it solves a very real problem. One thing that we learned when we spoke to our customers was that a lot of people actually between the 15th of the month and the 28th of the month actually don't order very much. Why is that? Payday. Your payday is at the end of the month, and maybe a week or two before payday, you say, oof, I'm not sure if I want to order that KFC. I'm not sure if I want to order, online. So we believe that by offering a buy now, pay later solution for customers, we can actually enable and a level of freedom for people. Let's say you're about to throw a party for your child and you need to order KFC for a group of 20 kids that are coming. We now offer that solution that solves a very real problem for a lot of people in the UAE and beyond. So that's what we've been up to. Over the last 3 years, we've been building this culture a bit at a time. It hasn't been easy, right? We had to build a team. We had to really share. We had to really, build the mindset that it's really important to get on the ground, talk to our users, struggle with our users, work with them to figure out what exactly they need and how to build product. Now, what do I want to charge all of you with, and why am I here today? I'm here today because I truly believe that the startup ecosystem in MENA is just at the ground floor. We're about to take off. And what do I want to charge you guys with? It's the fact that we have two options today. We can build products just because it's cool, because maybe there's another model that we're trying to copy from another place. Or we can truly find problems that real people are having in the Middle East. And I can promise you there are many across all the different industries between B2C and B2B and B2B2C for us to crack. And I want to charge all of you, entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs and students, that if you go a little bit deeper, if you take your customer at the heart of what you're trying to do, really understand what problems they have, that we have an opportunity to move MENA forward together, to build products, to build startups, to build solutions that really change the way that the Middle East will look in the next 10 years. So with that in mind, I'd like to thank all of you for being here today. Thank you so much for hosting me, and have a wonderful Sharjah Entrepreneurship Festival. Thank you.